Hey guys, let's talk about how a discipleship library empowers a discipleship culture. Now, this video is for pastors, small group leaders, parents, anyone in the local church or in a local ministry that's interested in creating a discipleship culture in their church or ministry. And so we're going to talk about how the Pursue God library especially helps you to do just that. So this is really important for you to get on the same page and understand some of these terms. So before we talk about the library and the tools, let's talk about what we mean by a discipleship culture. Okay, so I'm going to give you two definitions. The first one is this: a discipleship culture is a culture where it's the norm for people to make disciples. In other words, it's not just the pastor or the all-stars or the cream of the crop, the best people in your church, just the small group leaders, just the upper echelon leaders. It's not just those people that are helping people pursue God, that are making disciples actively in their life. But a discipleship culture is where everyone in the culture is doing it. Like it's so normal for people in your church or in your culture to know how to make disciples and how to help people pursue God, that everyone's doing it, and the people who aren't doing it are in the minority. So that's what a discipleship culture is. Several years back, I visited a church in Manila, the Philippines, and it's a church called Victory. It's a huge church, 40,000 members just in Manila in several different campuses. And they already have this going. They have this discipleship culture. And it was really hard for me to understand it because I spent a week just looking at how they do ministry, and they were talking about everyone is in a group, everyone leads a group. And I didn't understand it because I was putting my understanding of what a small group was on their church. And it took me a long time to finally understand that what was happening is that they had taken the time to build a culture of discipleship so that it truly was the norm. It wasn't seen as something really strange or hard to do for you to start a group. And what they meant by that is just 2 or 3 or 4 people in your life that you were equipped and you knew how to pour into their lives and help them to become a Christian and learn how to honor God in their life and that sort of thing. It was really pretty amazing. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a culture where it's normal for people to make disciples. So here's another way to think about it. Here's another way to define a discipleship culture. A discipleship culture is a place where anyone can start a group. Okay, and so what we mean by group is a discipleship group. So, if you think about anyone can start a group, and I want to make sure that I want you to blow out of your mind what you think about, because if you're a small group leader or if you have small groups at your church, that's great. You should have a lot of small groups at your church. That's just one kind of group. A group is just a place where people get together to pursue God. So, for example, another kind of group, one of the most basic kinds of groups, is just a couple group. My wife and I, we get together and we do couples devotionals on a weekly basis. And so I know as a husband, I've started that group with my wife. That's one of the simplest things that I can do as a follower of God, as a Christian, is to start a group with my wife, a couples devotional. Another kind of a group is a family devotional. Those are two of the most basic groups: couple devotional, family devotional. So in a discipleship culture, it's normal that if you were to go to the homes in that of the families in that church, that all throughout that church, there would be these intentional relationships going on with families, family devotional time every week. So those are just two simple examples, but there's men's groups, there's women's groups, there's all kinds of groups going on. Youth can start groups with their friends within the context of the youth group, or even just within the context of their life. That's what a discipleship culture is anyone can start a group. Okay, so now we're ready to talk about the discipleship library that we have online at pursueGOD.org. Because if you go there, you'll notice that in the top menu, one of the basic things you can do in that resource library is start a group. So if you click on that, no matter where you're coming from, there's all kinds of groups that you can realize, I can start these groups. And there's short videos to help you to understand that. So we've tried to take the mystery out of what it means to start a group. Now, again, in the context of the local church, there's this other thing called small groups, and that's the backbone of a discipleship culture, because small groups are official groups for your church that have very clear lines of authority. And again, you can get into those things if you get into our small group training series in our library. But a small group is just one important part of the broader discipleship culture in your church. And so back to the library, that's why it's really important for you to understand these two things in our library: explore a topic and take a series, because these are the two main things that you need to know if you're going to start a group and do it successfully. Is you need to understand how to explore a topic. So take some time to look at all the topics that you can explore in our library, and every single topic has a discussion guide that goes with it so that you can use it in your group. Now, when you explore a topic in our library, that's kind of a broad way to look at any particular topic, but it's really important that you know how to explore a topic. So with my wife, sometimes we'll explore a topic together. Sometimes we'll take a series together. With our family devotional time, sometimes we'll explore a topic. Sometimes we'll take a series, because we know how to do both things in the library. If you're leading a small group, you need to know how to explore a topic and take a series, because those are fundamental to our discipleship library. Now, if you're new to the library, you can find more information about topics and series and how to explore them and what the difference is. There's all kinds of really helpful information on how to do that. But the whole point is, if you want to have a discipleship culture in your church or ministry, you can't overlook the importance of a discipleship library. So the Pursue God Discipleship Library is a comprehensive library that you really can go to that resource library, and for whatever group you're talking about, whether it's your family, with you and your spouse, your small group, your men's group, whatever it is, any group you're talking about, there's plenty of stuff that's right there for you to help you do this fundamental thing in discipleship, and it's to share the truth in the context of a group, of relationships where you care about each other and you want to add value to one another's lives. That's what a group is. That's what the Pursue God Library does. Now, why don't you, if you're doing this with a small group or with a leadership team, why don't you use that workbook and talk about this concept and make sure you grasp the importance of a discipleship library to creating a discipleship culture.